Hi, everybody, welcome back to Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl Enhanced Edition on, obviously, the Steam Deck. Apologies for recording a video in this manner with my mobile phone, but for some reason the Steam recording app doesn't seem to be working very well with Shadow of Chernobyl Enhanced Edition on the Steam Deck. It seems to be freezing, which is a bit of a pain. But the idea of this video is I just wanted to wander around in Stalker and just talk about, what it's like to play it, how it runs on the Steam Deck, whether you should invest your time and your money in playing it now, and kind of what you're kind of doing. So first off, I've got to say is if you enjoy single player, open world-ish, survival adventure shooters, post-apocalyptic, then the original Stalker games are should be right up your street. In fact, unfortunately, Stalker 2, the new version of this that came out, the new game that came out at the end of last year, doesn't run very well on the Steam Deck. It might do in the future, but it chugs a little bit, and you're better off playing that on your console or on your PC. However, these enhanced editions, now that the developers have added gamepad support, run incredibly well and look, I think, amazing. I think this sort of game these are like the perfect games for the Steam Deck. The originals were published in 2007, 2008, 2009. And then these enhanced editions have been brought out. It's important to understand, though, that these are only slightly enhanced. They're not remasters, they're not remakes, they're nothing like that. What they've done is they've added gamepad support, they've taken away some of the bugs, they've improved some of the graphics. But this is the controversial bit, and we're going to have to see kind of what happens to this over the next few weeks that have been in patches. They have changed some parts of the game when it comes to the Soviet aspects of what was in the game. So I've just come up against something where I was chatting to an NPC, and he was talking about one of the main characters, and they've changed their name. So I was like, oh, that's a bit strange, that's a bit different. And I think things like Soviet posters and Soviet statues they've taken away. Because GSC, the publishers and devs behind this, are Ukrainian, and Ukrainian has suffered terribly at the hands of the Russians over the last couple of years, haven't they? So, as you could understand, they've taken the Russian stuff out, and there's quite a lot of people who were annoyed by this, saying, "Well, wait a minute, when the game came out, that's not what happened." So, I think they can do whatever they like with the game. I haven't really noticed anything apart from that, and it doesn't seem to affect the gameplay, which is good. But the overall gameplay in Stalker is really fun. So what we've done, let's bring up the map so I can show. So what the story so far is that this is Shadow of Chernobyl. So this is the first game, and what's happened is the game is set in the exclusion zone around the Chernobyl nuclear power plant that exploded in 1986, and the area was cordoned off, but there was also another explosion, and the exclusion zone is made much stricter. So it really is isolated. The army are allowed in and out, and some scientists and things like that. And there's these strange anomalies, like gravitational anomalies and electrical anomalies, and fire anomalies and acid anomalies. These strange things that kind of appear and disappear in the environment. And these anomalies can create artifacts, which are lot of small, almost like magical items that when you have them on you, you can, say, be a little bit stronger, or resist radiation, or resist fire, or be able to run and sprint for longer. And so they're very sought after. So there's this whole ecosystem of stalkers who go into the zone, as it's called, to find artifacts and sell them to make their fortune. But you also get sort of bandits who prey on people. You've got the soldiers. You've got all these scientists. You've got various different factions. And then you've got mutants as well that have appeared. And all of these things kind of interact with each other within the game. So although it's a single-player game, when you're out in the zone and you're wandering around, there's always stuff going on, which makes it very interesting and really ahead of its time for 2007. And so you start near the bottom of the map down here at the rookie village on the cordon. So the cordon is the thing that goes all the way around the map. You start here, and then it's kind of like a slice out of the zone. So you kind of work your way up here, you go over here, And then eventually, you know, you're following the story where you're doing the missions and the side missions and the quests that are given in order to get more money, to get better armor, to get better guns, until eventually you'll find yourself kind of all the way up here. We go through Pripyat and at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, kind of there. And you find out kind of what's going on, because you woke up without your memory, as we tend to do, don't we? These games quite a lot, and you've got to, you have to kill this guy called Strelok. Now, there's 3 games that have been re-released. This one's Shadow of Chernobyl. Then you've got the prequel, which is Clear Sky, and then you've got the one after this, which is Call of Pripyat. And in each one, you play a different character. But I would definitely suggest playing them in order, so that you find out the lore of what's going on. Also, absolutely, as you play, the games get better in terms of quality of life. So, for example, in this one, in the first one, your inventory system's fairly simple. There's no repairing of armor or weapons. Artifacts, you just find them lying on the ground. Whereas in the later ones, you've got to use things like a detector to find artifacts. You can repair weapons and armor and things. Get much more sophisticated. Well, I say much more sophisticated. They get more sophisticated as you move on. But I think the beauty of these original Stalker games is the team that make them were full of passion for the project, and you can see that in the fact that it's got an interesting story, interesting characters. What you do is fairly simple. You're just kind of looking on the map. You're going to points that you'll talk to an NPC, and then something will appear on the map. In fact, let's do that now. Let's go and let's talk to the bartender here. Hey, come on, talk to me. And say, I need a job. Find the Dark Star artifact, kill the soldier, obtain the Flesh's Eye, eliminate the bandits at garbage. So let's say we said, I don't like the kill the soldier one, because you can choose how you want to play as well. Eliminate the bandits at garbage. Okay, that's what I want to do. And then we could say talk to this guy as well. Okay, so he's going to sell us some information for 4,000 credits, which is quite a lot. Okay, I can tell information about Strelok's group virtually for nothing. Okay, I'll take it. It's 4,000. It's located by the Agropom Research Institute. There's a stash underground. It probably contains information about the group's plans and a list of group members. The coordinates of the stash are attached. Okay, so he's got any other jobs? Kill the Master Stalker. Okay, maybe not interested in that job right now. But what we can see now probably is... Here we go. So now we've got something to do. And depending on where you are in the story, you may well have lots of different tasks to do. Some tasks are just time related, and they're just small fetched quests, or go and kill these bandits, or go and kill these mutants in this particular place. And sometimes they're main quest lines. The PDF actually is really interesting, because you've got your task that you can see here on the left hand side that we can track and do things. We have our journal where you can find out things. So you should always be looking at this, because information is put in the journal that you might not have missed. So there's like a plan for how the guards move in a particular area to get through. Oops. We've got the chats we've had. So if you're talking to an NPC but you miss something, you can go back. You've got the people you've met and the relationship you have with them, whether they like you or not. You've got your statistics, and you've got the encyclopedia, which is where you can go in. Again, you should be read this, because it tells you all about the lore of the game, of the things that you've found as you're going along as well. So it's all really, really cool. And I say it's simple enough to just pick up and play, and you can leave it for a few months and come back to it without having to think, oh, how do I do all these other things? The RPG mechanics are really simple. Basically, you have your character here, and as you can see, he's wearing some armor. Can I go over to him? Oh, I just took off his armor. We don't want that. So he has some armor. So we can buy better armor. I've currently got 29,000 credits, or rubles they used to be. I've got an AK there, and I'm holding like an MP5 sort of thing. I've got a silenced pistol, but it's difficult to see, but just above the inventory on the left-hand side, I'm currently carrying 47 kilos, and my maximum weight is 50. Now, I can go over 50, but I'll start to slow down and run out of endurance. And then we've got lots of med packs. Now, up here, what you can see here, these are artifacts that I put onto my belt, and then they give me buffs. So this is like a simple RPG. So this particular artifact gives me better endurance, so I can sprint for longer. This one gives me better health, but at the expense of the other things. So then if we look down here, we can see is how these things are affecting me. So it could be there's an artifact that really protects you from radiation, but it removes your endurance. So you can't carry much, or you can't sprint for very long. But you may well want to use that in a certain situation where you need to go somewhere that's highly radioactive, or maybe it's very hot. So you can use these artifacts like that, or you can sell them for money, or you can use them in tasks. So you'll ask for a job at, somewhere, and the trader or an NPC will say, go and get me one of these artifacts, and you can go and find it. Or the best thing really is just to, whenever you find an artifact, always keep it. Don't sell it if it's the only one you've got. Sell it, either keep it to use it, or sell it when someone gives you a quest to find one, because they'll say, find me the bloodstone artifact, and you can just give it to them straight away, and they'll give you some money, or they'll give you some stuff for it, which is really cool. So it's all really simple, and so right. So that's kind of that. As you can see, it's running very well. We're running on medium graphics, but again, if you're new to handheld PC gaming and you're watching this, you don't have to run games on high or ultra settings, because the screen is so low, so small. It's only 800 by 600 resolution, and that's why games can run very, very smoothly as well. I mean, I've locked this game to 60 FPS. But you don't need high resolution. You don't need 1080p, because the screen's too small. So with the small screen, the pixels are dense anyway. So that's what gives you a very nice looking screen. Okay, so let's have a look then. So zoom in a little bit. So what have we got to do? Go to the Dark Valley. Let's have a look at our test. Let's see. Get to the railroad embankment, meet the journey, traverse the road. Yeah. Save mole. We've done all this stuff. I thought we'd done this. Find the military document. Right. Steal the military document. Take the documents to the barkeep. Get information from the scout. What's this one? Lab entrance. Borov. So this is where sometimes these games can be a little bit odd. So what we've got to do is we've got to go and get some more documents from here. So looking at the map, how do we get there? Can you knock out the pack of bandits or garbage? Alright, so we need to go south anyway. There's nothing going on over here. So if we go to garbage, and then we go out of there, that will take us over this way to the Dark Valley, and then we can look at this stuff. Okay, so let's head south for a bit, and then you can kind of see how that goes. Unfortunately, it's night at the moment in the game, I think, still. Although you could argue that nighttime is one of the times when the game looks the best. The sky looks nice, doesn't it? Turn my head torch on. You get to know these places. So this place is run by a faction called Duty, who are ex-soldiers, well, a military group who their job, or that they think is to kind of control the zone and kill mutants and do things like that. Different factions have different attitudes towards the zone as well. So you find that there's a group called Freedom. Hello, I've managed to get myself lost. Where's the way out gone? And they think, you have to get along with the zone and respect the zone. And then you get scientists who want to understand the zone. Then you get stalkers who want to steal the bits from the zone. You also get diggers as well. And what the diggers do, they're there to find... they look pretty cool, the characters. The diggers are there to find old equipment that's been left behind now. We do have a bit of a problem here with these There's a load of mutant dogs, so I want to avoid them if I can, because they're a bit of a pain. So what happens is, as you're kind of wandering around in the open areas, the AI, so there might be some AI soldiers or some AI bandits or some AI mutants, and they're all kind of wandering around, and there we go, let's just make a run for us. I don't really want to waste all my ammo killing them. And they'll bump into each other, and they'll just start having a fight of their own accord. So the world feels alive. There's stuff going on. Are they following me? Okay. Move to the next level. So this is why it's kind of almost like a faux open world, because although it is open. Oh, there's a. See that? Whoa, we're about to go into an anomaly. See the anomaly. See, that's like an anomaly that just kind of looks like a gravitational kind of wind effect. We have a bolt. The idea is you have this bolt that you can throw to trigger stuff, and you can listen. That beeping tells me that something's about to happen. Right, let's just have a quick look at the map. So we got, if we went back here, we could get the reward. Okay, are the bandits? All right, okay, yeah, there's like a military checkpoint here that we go through with these fellas. All right, how are we doing? See, we're on good terms with these, but let's say we ended up killing some of them. They would then be our enemies, and we wouldn't just be able to walk around. They would be very much no, and they would start firing at us straight away. Ooh. See, I don't particularly. So, as you can see here, you've got these big piles of rubbish. Let's get my blockers out so you can see a bit better. So, after the nuclear accident, as it actually happened in real life in Chernobyl, lots of stuff was kind of dumped in the surrounding areas. Obviously, it doesn't quite look like this. And people come here in order to kind of dig through these piles to find stuff that's worth money. You could describe Stalker as kind of DayZ, but with stuff to do. Single player DayZ with NPCs and stuff to do, because they share a lot of DNA. DayZ has a lot of Stalker DNA in it, and vice versa. Where are we? Okay, so. There's a faction in here as well. Actually, yeah, I'm in garbage. Where are they? Must be further down here. Yeah, so there's a load of guys in there. And different places are like hubs that will have a trader, and they'll have some main NPCs who can give you quests. In fact, what other... how many bullets have we got? Oh, we got loads of bullets in the AK. Haven't got a weapon with a scope yet, but that will happen. Here we go. Got enemies here. There's quite a few around here. This might be quite dangerous. Use a bandage. The AI are just clever enough to make things interesting. They'll flank, they'll get out of the way if they see you pointing a gun at them. Where's that other guy gone? someone behind us? Where's he gone? I think we finished him off. Where's his body? Here we go. Another big part of the game is looting, eating. Grenade there. Again, you've got to be careful because you don't want to pick up too much stuff, because you'll it'll slow you down and you lose endurance and the ability to sprint. And in firefights, the ability to sprint around is really important. But you do want to pick stuff up because you want to trade with it and sell it, and that's kind of a nice gameplay loop of, all right, okay, so I've picked up a nice weapon. I'd really like to take this weapon to the trader and sell it to the trader to get some money. But that means I've got to kind of go in the opposite direction to what I have been going in. What should I do? Giving you these interesting little choices. Okay, sun's coming up. Looks very pretty, doesn't it? So what we're doing now is we would head over to here, and there'll be some bandits here that we've got to kill. And then once we've killed those, it will say, right, okay, so come back up to the duty area to collect the reward, or we could turn around and go this way. But another thing that might happen is that it could be that your armor has been damaged. So you think, I really need to go and buy another set of armor, bulletproof vest and that sort of thing. So maybe that's something I should be doing. So you have all these little choices that you're making as you go through the game that make it a lot of fun. Having these sort of decisions. Is that So artifacts, you just kind of find them on the ground, jumping around. It's quite funny, actually. I do enjoy that. So there we go. That's playing Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl Enhanced Edition on the Steam Deck. Hopefully it's given you an idea of what it's like. Highly recommend these games. Highly recommend. If you've already bought Stalker in the past, any of the original ones, you'll have the Enhanced Editions ready to download and play in your library for free, because that's what they've done. You can buy them as a Legends of the Zone pack. I think it's about £30, which is fair enough. You will get an awful lot of time out of these games, and you're obviously supporting the devs by playing them. And I think they're the perfect sort of games for a handheld PC, simply because they run so well and it's nice and simple. It's not like when you play an Assassin's Creed game, the new ones. There's so much to do and so much to think about. Whereas these, there isn't, and it's a great atmosphere, and I'm a big DayZ fan as well. Anyway, that's enough from me. What do you think, though? Hopefully you find these videos useful. If you have, hit like. Once you're on the same, press subscribe, and of course, I'll see you again soon.